final?
Isn't
that I saw we posted something.
Yes, correct.
And I think there's two teams from Winter Haven, right? Two girls teams from Winter Haven.
Yes, I believe so. Mm-hmm.
There's a team from FC Tampa. How about you, Mike? You got any guys in the final?
For President's Cup, no.
Yeah.
No.
Can everybody see? Can everybody see everybody now?
Yeah, I can on the side.
Yeah. Well, that you change that up yourself.
Oh, what do I do?
Go up to the top. You can change that however you want. You can change it in singular, quad, or whatever. Go up to
I have it on the side, but I have your desktop in front of us.
Yeah, you should have my desktop, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the right side, if you hit participants.
I see it.
There you go.
I still haven't got, but it doesn't matter to me. All right, so we've got, I think, 5 teams in the President's Cup final. We're not sure about the Commissioner's Cup at this point, but we'll look that up and print it. And I think we'll have to review how many we got through this weekend in the State Cup. Mike's got FC Tampa as 5. Now, they all did win USA, though, did they, Mike?
The 14 girls did, the 15 girls did.
Okay.
Yeah. 13 boys did.
You're breaking up, Mike. Hey, Jeff, what's that 15 receipt for?
I don't know if that was a proper. I'll have to look at it. I'll have to look it on it. I'll ask the beat when it was. I'm not 100% sure. It said 14 instead of 15.
I don't have your 15s winning anything.
Okay, that's like as far as 15 boys, so I'll just check and make sure.
You said the 14s, right?
Yeah, 14 girls.
14 girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won their age group.
Okay. April.
But we can look that out during a week, Jeff. I mean, we'll look. Wait time tonight, Greg. We'll pin all of those 12 teams down and see what we got.
Like I said, I'll just get ours knocked out tonight. That way I don't miss it. So it's still
That's
fresh.
great, man. Okay. If you want to do that's perfect. But I mean, we'll get it this week. We will follow that up.
Excellent.
All right.
All right.
Here's the agenda, Paul.
Yeah, I got it. But let's go back through. So really the VP boys, Mike, we're really the review of the clubs as far as what we're faring this year, which actually good, you know. We've had a pretty good showing thus far, I would say. Having, 5, 6, 7 teams in these cups still. Junior boy, anything the ordinary, we have results from them too, right?
No, I mean they went through well. Everything was good.
All right, and I think we have that. Sherry, you got that online, don't you? I mean, you published.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's nothing for the 9, 10s. The 11s and 12s.
Yeah.
Are in not a state cup competition, right? They only go to the President's Cup or the Commissioner's Cup, correct?
Right.
Yeah. Well, everything's Commissioner's up to U12 is a Commissioner's Cup.
Up to
U12.
No, there's only the Commissioner's, there's not.
I'm sorry. Yeah, only there's no President's Cup for everybody up to U12.
Yes. Yeah. It's just how about President's Cup down 11s and 12s? Do they enter the President's Cup?
No, they can't.
Okay. So them either. So they'll okay. All right. Steve, girls, we got anybody representing the women? Nobody? All right. Unpaid fines, everybody knows you got to make them up. We won't schedule you next year. Not we. The league will not schedule people that still still have outstanding payments to make, just by law. The USA grant applications. They're due by Monday. How are we doing, Greg? Have we got a son?
We
We
got
got
14.
14
Oh, that's
so
great.
far.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, we'll sort through them. The AGM is the 19th of next month.
We moved it due to Mother's Day.
Okay. Now, here's the thing, and we'll have to do that this week. The rule is if we do not have a proposal due normally by today, but we're going to say we're moving it to the 29th. If we don't have the proposal in by the 29th of June, we won't vote on it at the AGM. That's a bylaw or rule change.
29th of April.
Yeah, now Greg, you and I have been talking, and Sherry, you too. We need to do a little bit of work before the end of the month just to get them tightened up for the ones we have, which we know we've got some little holes we want to plug.
I have a list of 11.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to see what they are?
No,
Okay.
because we're not going to take them up. You and I can get them. We'll send them out to the board because they'll be the boards. That's what the boards will propose. If anybody else has them, they can come directly into you or Sherry, and it'll be on the agenda. It'll get voted on during the meeting.
And what's the date that those have to be in by?
4/29.
Okay, 4/29 for anybody else.
And also, in addition to that, Sherry, we've got 5 elected positions. Am I correct? 3 1 year, 2 the next. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so what do we got coming now? We've got president, 1 vice president, and 1 treasurer, maybe?
Give me a minute. Let me just
Well,
look at the
don't worry
bylaws.
about it, but this week, again, we get that out to everybody so they know, where they're at. And then all the other, there are 4 other board positions that are yearly, so they get re-upped every year. That is the other 4 positions, or the other positions on the board. Let's just make sure we got the elected positions open and known, so people can make nominations.
You're talking the at-large ones?
Yes, the at-large are for 1 year. If you look at the bylaws, they're
Right.
a 1 year every year. So
Right.
we invite people in and then kind of put them on the board as we've got room to put them. So we got it this year. We got to just bear down a little bit and figure that out. But again, there's no crisis. The board's fairly stable at this point, no matter who comes in. The real stability comes from the clerical end, from Sherry and Greg being there, because they're the ones that carry all the information forward, and they're the ones that do all the clerical work all year, everything. So as long as that's there, it remains stable, and it's been like that for 5 years. We haven't really changed much. So therefore, now Sherry, in years past, we kind of looked at the percentage of, because there's always a talk about, these cases
Yeah.
get finished. We shouldn't.
I have it, actually.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
give me 1 second. I was just totaling it. I'm going to email it to Greg so he can put it up for everybody.
yeah.
Okay? Give me,
But there is a push among a couple of the guys anyway to modify, to ask to see if the members want to modify the senior season. And that seems to be where we have the bulk of the games that don't get played by by the end of March. And but my point is that we should see exactly what that is. The impression is a lot of them. I know
No.
there's a lot of them.
no, there's not.
Yeah. See, that's what I think too.
We're in really good shape. So I'm going to send it right now, Greg. You want me to send it to Game Reports or where?
No, send it to Game Reports.
Okay. I mean, half
So
a
you
second.
guys, David, what club are you with?
Braden River.
Oh, okay. David, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry. Yeah, Braden River.
I apologize. Every time I ask you the same question, you know. I'm not,
problem.
well, I am. I'm getting senile, for sure.
I'm still fairly new here.
No, but you know, your position where we lost Mark is really important to have that club involved, you know. So it's there's a little more weight to it than the guys who got 3 teams. Not that there's anything wrong with the guys who got 3
Sorry, I
teams.
sent it from my other email. Sorry.
It's all right.
But so, David, we were talking about the amount of unplayed games at the end of the senior season. Always seems like when we see it on our side, when our admin people see it, it's like a blizzard of games. But it's and how many games? It really it's very
Here it is
small.
by
So
division or by age group.
So 19s, there's none.
Correct. So just so everybody understands what you're looking at, the number on the left with games either not played or I'm missing a score, and it's kind of hard to tell what it is. And then the number on the right is the total games for that bracket for the season. So for 19s, in all divisions, all games were played and a score was entered.
Let me ask them. There are only 59 games in a Premier League season for everybody. Does that seem right?
Well, you got
I'm not testing you, Sherry. I'm just asking out loud.
That would be correct.
There's 7 games every weekend, right? 14 teams, technically 14 teams. 7 matches, 14 games. There should be 70 or 80 games.
well.
Is there I mean, there may be a reason why. I'm just saying.
Well, in some of them, it's because like a team, you know, dropped out after the schedules were made, for example. But pretty much, I don't know, Greg, do you have Got Soccer open?
No, I don't.
No. It gives me like the total games.
Because an average, just for me, an average would be 84 matches, right? If the world were perfect, we had 8 in each division, and each team played 14 games. I realize that's not really the case.
Yeah.
So, all right, but anyway,
counted
we'll check that. I mean, and that's another.
No, you take the number, multiply it, and then divide it by 2. You got 8 teams times 14.
Well, let's say this. Will you admit the 7 matches a weekend?
Yeah, but you got to understand each match. It's
I
not
don't care about the teams. I'm just saying how many. There's 7 matches every weekend, no matter who.
right. And you got 14 teams, right? 14 games.
14 weeks.
14 weeks, 7 matches.
Yeah, 84.
I can tell you on the U19 Premier, there's one team with 14 games listed, and everybody else has 13 in the boys 19.
Mm-hmm.
So one out of the teams has 14, everybody else
I'm
has
not
13.
going to concern myself out of 550 teams with that, Jeff. But the point is that on this, we need at least to look into a couple of these to see why there's no 84s, or if what Got Soccer's kicking out to Sherry is accurate. It doesn't matter because it's probably.
Greg, could you open up Got Soccer real quick, possibly?
Yeah, let me see.
And then I'll show you, unless I'm misunderstanding.
No, but I don't even want to belabor the point. But this week we should run that down.
Yeah.
All right.
Really more interested in the statistics that we do.
Like in Division 2, we got them all. 14.
I'm pretty sure this is accurate because when I totaled everything, it actually is.
All the stuff I'm looking at, is that your, okay. Okay, so this is, I'm looking at your screen, Greg, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get into Got Soccer here.
No, you need to get in the USA.
What? Where do you
Just
want me to
log
go?
in and then go to. I want you to
Well,
log in.
USA's got all the results. Got Soccer doesn't.
Well, yeah,
Or
but
do they?
you don't get all the metrics on that. You just get the scores.
Okay, go to, no, okay, however you log in.
Just look at one of the
Oh, God.
leagues. Look at the Premier 19s. You can just look at it and figure it out. Right?
I got a new laptop here, right, Sherry? And I forgot what my, hold on. I'll get to it in a second.
But Sherry, you see what I'm saying? The USA, we can just look at the one Premier and just test it. But I'm more interested in seeing. I don't want to waste any more time on this.
Okay,
This week we'll take a look, and I know there'll be an explanation as to why. Either it cut it off, or we had this many matches. I'm more
Okay.
interested in seeing.
if
Greg,
you want to throw that back
yeah,
up
just
there.
go back to that, Greg. We're fine with it. We'll ask that question this week. It's just me, my brain working overtime. Let's not waste any time on it.
Go
But
to the
we will-
word
but we should check it this week. All
Right
right.
So scroll
As we-
down.
As we go through,
What?
No, I was just saying scroll down because there's the
Oh,
different,
okay, I couldn't hear you.
and I have a total at the bottom for the boys. And really, even the 10s and the 9s and the 8s skew it, because as you can see, up prior to that, it was 1 or 2 games missing. And then you get to the 10s, 9s, and 8s, and obviously there's bigger numbers missing. But
right, which is
out of the total number of boys games played, 2,345, 87 were either not played or missing a score. So that's about 3.7%.
I think the majority is missing a score because I check ours each week for our teams, and I see that they played or being at home they played. Just maybe the score wasn't reported.
Right, exactly.
Well, we go back, Jeff, just so you know, every week Sherry does most of it and goes back and back and back to get those scores in. So the
Yeah.
fact that we're only missing.
But like I said, the bulk of the missing is in the
Yeah, scroll up, Greg.
scroll up. The older age groups are like in really good
That's
shape.
what matters. I mean, and not matters, but I mean, really, that's where you. Now look at those numbers. You've got 4, 5, 4, 4, 0. That's the boys. So when you say, hey,
And the
we're
girls is
missing a
below.
lot of matches, we're not playing them. It's really not. It's such a small percentage. It's not a good descriptor of what really is happening. It just seems like it is because we're involved in 500 game changes.
And then the girls are listed below, and the girls are even better than the boys. So keep scrolling down.
Less matches. But yeah, you see, look at that. Keep that number, Greg, and then we'll go from there as far as where are you pulling that from, though, Sheriff? From USA? From Got Soccer.
I literally went through every schedule and counted all the missing ones.
Wow. Okay.
And then
But it's important because it's we make assumptions about stuff, and really we're never.
then there's the total number of games,
Yeah.
3,285. And then 103 were, like I said,
Yeah.
the majority of those are probably missing scores. If I would hazard a guess, maybe 20 or so were not played. It's just
So
hard
that'll
to
put
tell that.
the total down under 1%.
Yeah. Correct.
So I can't imagine we can expect much better. I mean, we expect 100%, but I mean, this is this is as good as you can do when you have 3,500 games. So the fact that we're looking at it anyway because it does stress the system out. These after the first, the senior leagues makeup games are really stressful for the clerical end of our business. It really stresses the crap out of us because it's reschedule. I can't play this weekend, and it really sucks up a lot of our effort. So if either we come up with a reschedule plan, we tried to jawbone at the meeting and say, hey, you can't keep doing this, but it didn't work. I wouldn't say the reschedules were any better this year than they have been any other year. Would you?
They're about the same. The only thing that causes headaches is that with all these tournaments that keep being added, okay, on all these what we consider to be off weekends or not league scheduled weekends, you can't find referees to reschedule games, and they keep pushing until they both say, well,
No, I get it. But Greg, given all of that, you probably missed under 1% of your games. 20 games, 30 games out of 3,000.
no argument. I'm not arguing
But
that.
it's the work. I get it. It is.
It's not even that. But going forward, it's going to be hell to pay to try to find a referee.
I agree.
Referees are dropping like flies.
But the referee problems are greater than that. It's just not part. That's part of it. But the fact is, nobody's doing anything to get referees. Nobody. Not many people are working at that specifically, and because of it, we're going to hit a crisis sooner or later. We haven't yet, but we're going to. And that will really reduce the kids that can play. I mean, that's real. Or you're going to have to raise the rates to such a great degree that you'll bring people back in. You'll double what you have to do now. That'll be the first thing you're going to have to do. Is continue to just make it more expensive for you to hire referees. That's the first. That'll be the upshot of it. You'll be bidding them away from other people. That's basically what you're going to have to do first. Yeah. Secondly, that should draw in more people and more people staying because it's so ridiculously overpaid that people will do it.
Well, true.
And if you listen to my friend Mario Martinez, that's not the right reason to ref. But I'm being an economist by trade. I know that works.
And that doesn't necessarily mean we're getting great referees either.
No. But the refereeing is bad. I mean, no matter what you pay, it doesn't change it any. That's what, again, Mario used to say, you pay them more, they're no better. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
But you have to have somebody in the middle of that field to make that game move forward in some method that's organized. Otherwise, you got chaos. That call your own thing just doesn't work. Call your own foul, And I know I tell a story every year about playing basketball in Patterson, but man, we would play all day and we would play a third, we would fight a third, and we would argue, we'd debate a third. That was a third of the day. We'd end up watching some two fools roll around on the ground for 5 minutes before somebody stopped, And that's with 11 aside. You can't even do that, So, all right. Well,
while you were speaking, I was able to figure out of the 103 games, 85 are missing scores, and the remaining 18 were not scheduled.
So 18 by 3285 is what percentage?
It's 1%. Yes, correct.
Wouldn't 1% of 3,000 is what, 32? Right?
It's actually.
It's really half. It's almost a half of a percent.
It's 0.005.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll update that and I'll send this table out to everyone.
Please.
So you have the details in front of you.
Yeah, and I know that's a lot of work, Sherry, but you see how important it is because when you really get down to making arguments, and I'm always saying that, how many games is this? So, all right, well, let's keep going. Let's keep moving. But that's thanks for doing that. Affiliation forms are due by the 1st of May. And let me just say one thing. There got to be 500 alternatives to this league now. There's every time it rains, a new league pops up. A new entity is running leagues. A new, there's a new promise of games. To me, there's only two relevant points. One is the league statewide? In other words, are you going to travel all over the state, or is it local, or is it localized in some way? A. B, you got guys like FYSA that now look to want to expand all of a sudden into areas. I really don't like that and don't think they have any reason to do that, and we will fight it as a unit here. But other than that, this league has performed for 23 years straight. We've got our games are organized. We've got refs there. We've got results. As we just found out, 0.5% of the games don't get played. So whatever we're doing, and I'm not patting myself on the back, it really has to do with the effort we put into the administrative end of this. It works, and that's all we can offer people is a great organization. And that's the only appeal. I think every year we seem to despair that, oh man, there's all these guys coming in, and they are, and we need to look at that, and we're going to. But when you end up with this model every year in and year out still maintains 3,500 games, 3,200 games, and that's really what this board is here to do. We may find that we want to do something else. Some of the members may want to do something else, and that's fine. We'll get to that when we get to that. Coaches meetings slated for 7/20 and 8/17. 7/20, obviously, the juniors. 8/17, the seniors. For the good of the game, let's just bank it right there instead of talking about something except how did the Liverpool thing go this week, Greg?
Well, our boys, the league's teams put up a good fight, but didn't win a game. And
okay.
And the colleges beat Liverpool this time, where Liverpool beat the colleges last time.
Okay.
So
but I mean, we didn't lose any of the kids. Everything went off smoothly.
All the kids came. All the kids gone. The parents couldn't have been happier with the behavior and such of the boys. The scheduling and transportation was a nightmare because we had 3 clubs involved. So it's kind of hard to drop kids off here, there, and wherever.
Yeah. But you couldn't. I mean, we keep relying on FC Tampa every year before this to bear the entire brunt.
Yeah, Tarpon ended up taking an entire team this year.
Yeah,
so
that's great. That's fantastic.
That was great. The feedback from their parents and their organization was fantastic. They're probably. I had been talking to them about the going overseas and getting an international degree for college.
Right.
And so they're looking at taking a team over either this summer or next to understand what everything's all about there, as well as taking a tour or the university rather. So
cool.
Things are looking good there. Again, they may or may not come next year. It's like an every other year thing with them. So
yeah. I mean, I think the first thing to note is Greg, end up doing, I don't know how much, 90% of this thing. And it's at some point, it becomes overwhelming that you got to put all this together and you're good at it. I'm not complaining. Everything goes smoothly. But at some point, we got to rethink. We've either got to get more people involved or pay them or something.
Ask my wife. She doesn't want me to do it again.
Yeah, and I've watched it from the inside, getting the awards and all that stuff. So it's and FC Tampa. I mean, Mike. After that, Mike's crew, the people up there, really have been bearing a lot of the brunt. Now that you got Tarpon Springs, that's fantastic. I saw a game. I was able to see some of a match on Thursday night at Schimberg, and it was well attended. I got to say, and it was a good game. I thought the technical skill of the Liverpool kids was better, and the tactical awareness was better. Physically, I thought our kids were athletic, and stuff, but they just were chasing the ball all night. But they, they were in the match. I mean, they got to play. And that's really all you get in this thing.
If they sit down at the end of the match,
they start to see what happens when that's always Mike's mantra is, the tactical awareness of these kids is just is beyond, because that's what they got in England right
That's what they do. Yeah.
now. You know, we're not there. Yeah.
But good
All
time.
right.
Good
How
time
about
at all.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Let's adjourn this meeting straight away so we clear Jeff up and get it going.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, I just emailed the, what positions are up for election. It's president, VP senior voice, and secretary.
The secretary.
Mark.
It was Mark.
Mark was the secretary.
Oh, we replaced him.
No.
That reminds me, USA, we've got to, in this month also, formally, I think, name one of the prizes. I would ask that we bump the first prize. We got two 25s, right, at 215. What are the first
2,500,
two?
225s,
25 each?
225s, and
215.
1,000.
Not 4 1,000. We only had 4.
Okay, so it was 2 1,000s and 2 2,500s.
Yeah, so I would I'll get in touch with everybody. I would bump one of those and make it and name that after Mark. So we've got one at 3 and one at 25 with the first two, the big ones.
Okay.
I would second that.
Distinguish it and put a little more heft to it. And that will be boy or girl, doesn't matter. I mean, it's, you know, whoever the first 4 are, the first, we got to name one for Mark's memorial. All right, let's adjourn this meeting. We don't have a quorum, so we don't need to vote. Let's go to the next point. We're going to have to do this again. You're going to have to do it, the vote by the week, Greg, because we don't have a quorum here. But let's get right to game 1129, the need issue. We can't approve the minutes either, by the way. You know, you don't have a quorum. So let's get right to that and tune in. Well, we already spoke to Jeff, but if he's still on. So you want to give us the background to this, Greg?
Oh, I got to find the.
Mike, are you aware of this?